Hello, my name is Kat, and today I want to share with you guys some of the popular books that I have not yet read. So before the great book slump of 2016, I was a pretty active reader. But of course, there are some books that are very popular that I haven't read. They're still in my TBR pile, or I never put them in my TBR pile to begin with. I have here a list of 10-ish popular books and series that I have not yet read. So let's get into it. First up is A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. Shame! 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 I actually do own this book. I think I own most of the A Song of Ice and Fire series. They're just still packed up in a box somewhere in my apartment because I really only have these shelves here, and that's why I'm not going to do a bookshelf tour anytime soon, so please stop asking. This is probably the book, the series, that I am most ashamed of not having read yet. I keep intending to read it. Like, it's been in TBR jars, and I was like planning to listen to the audiobook for it, and I haven't. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love it because I love the show, and you know, the books are always better. So I need this. I need to read this. I need to read this. I can't even really tell you what's been stopping me, other than like maybe just intimidation of the size of the books and the size of the series and the fact that the series isn't done yet, but like those aren't good reasons. Those are excuses. Get your shit together, Kat. Then I have here The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling. It's one thing to love the Harry Potter series and to have just not picked this one up because they're so different. But I also love the Cormoran Strike series, and like, I should at least give this a try. I know the reviews on this are mixed. Probably the most mixed reviews on a book that has J.K. Rowling's name on it, you know, until Cursed Child came around. I think the main reason I have not yet read this book is because I don't know if I'm gonna like it. Like, I've loved all of the J.K. Rowling books I've read before, and what if I hate this one? I'll have like a crisis over one of my favorite authors, but regardless, still want to read it. Still gotta give it a go. The next book on my list is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. Sing me a song of a book I haven't read. What am I doing with my life? This is another book that I do actually own, but it's still packed up in a box somewhere, so I can't show you a physical copy. Also another situation where I've seen the TV show adaptation and I love it, and I need to get to read in the source material. Though I actually haven't watched any of season 2 yet, so I am just behind in all things Outlander. Need to read this book, need to watch season 2, need to read the other books. I'll get to it. I will. I promise. Next up is books 4 and 5 of the Selection series by Kiera Cass. I have the first 3 books, and I've read these 3 books, and to be completely honest, and maybe a little controversial, I don't plan on reading books 4 and 5. Now, these books were really fun, and they were fast reads, but there were just some aspects that annoyed me so much, and, you know, this arc is complete. These 3 books tell a complete story. The other 2 books take place years later with a different main character. I don't feel like I need to read those. I'm satisfied leaving this world as I left it. And, you know, I have such a big TBR pile. There are so many books that I feel like I'll enjoy more that I want to read ahead of the rest of this series. I'm sorry if you love this series, it's just my opinion. Next up I have here the first Magnus Chase book, and also the first Trials of Apollo book by Rick Riordan. I love that Rick Riordan puts out so many books, but if you don't read them fast enough, you start to fall behind hard. Like, the second Magnus Chase book comes out in like 2 months, and I haven't finished the first one. I got like halfway through, and then the great slump of 2016 struck hard, and I haven't finished it. And Apollo came out just a couple months ago, and I haven't even started it, but I've been wanting to. And both of these books are pretty recent releases, so I don't feel like an extreme amount of shame that I haven't gotten to them yet, because, you know, they haven't been out that long. But still, I really want to read them, and they're so much fun and funny, and they're great reads for, like, breaking a slump. So why haven't I gotten to these yet? I don't know, but I will soon. Next up, I have here The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. After the Mistborn series, I feel like this is Brandon Sanderson's most popular book. I don't know, this is the one that I hear people talking about the most, and everyone is like, Kat, you have to read the Stormlight Archives, get on that. And I want to read this book. I'm going to read this book. I just am not quite sure when. Like, not only is this single book pretty intimidating because it's a complex fantasy world and there's a bunch of characters and it's like 1,000 pages, but the series overall is gonna be very large and it's very far from being finished. So that has me hesitating, but I love Brandon Sanderson's books. Like, I've not yet been disappointed by a Brandon Sanderson book, and people rave about this one, so I gotta get to it. Next up on my list is Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. Now with this book, with this series, the reason I haven't yet read it is because I feel a bit of conflict over supporting Orson Scott Card because he said and done some things that I really don't agree with. Now, separating the art from the artist is kind of a big subject that I could talk about for a while, and in fact, I have already made a video about this. It's kind of an older video, but the points I make are probably still valid, I think. I don't know, I haven't rewatched it in years. At this moment in time, I'm just not sure I will ever read this book, but most of that is actually due to the fact that my TBR pile is outrageous. Even before thinking about the whole art versus artist conflict, there are just so many other books in my TBR ahead of this one that I'm way more excited about, and my TBR keeps growing exponentially. I might not get to this just because there's other stuff I gotta read, or I might not get to it because of the art versus artist conflict. I don't know, but I haven't read it yet, and it's very popular, and I might read it someday, or maybe not. The end. Next up is the Gone series by Michael Grant. And I do actually own this book, just the first one, but it's somewhere in a box in my apartment and I couldn't find it for this video. This series wasn't actually on my radar until I got into BookTube and so many people kept recommending it to me. It sounds awesome, and based off of all the recommendations I've gotten, I'm sure I will enjoy this series. And it's actually by one of the authors who wrote Animorphs, which was like my favorite series growing up and really influenced me a lot in my early reading years. The series is complete, and from what I hear, they're really fun, fast reads, so I have no excuse as to why I haven't picked this up yet. There's no excuse. There's no good reason I need to read the series. Then I have here Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. Another series that I just really have no good reason or excuse as to why I haven't read at least this first book yet, especially because so many people on BookTube love this series, and I get like most of my book recommendations from BookTube. So, like, honestly, it's just kind of impressive that I've eluded reading this for so long. Now it's just getting to the point where I feel left out. Like, there's 3 or 4 books in this series, and like also a spin-off series, and it's this whole world that I know next to nothing about. I need to get on that. I need to read this like a sap. And finally, I have here 4 books that have kind of been weighing on me the most. Even though they're all recent releases, they're also all finales to series that I love. And the fact that I haven't gotten around to just reading the last book yet, what am I doing? Library of Souls by Ransom Riggs. I started it, and then the slump took hold, and I haven't finished it. The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. I am just straight up terrified of this book. I'm very, very nervous to see how it all ends, but I know I need to. I need to find out. The Last Star by Rick Yancey, which I still want to read, even though someone intentionally spoiled me, which was hella rude. And Morning Star by Pierce Brown, which I've been putting off because I want to be sure that I film a book talk for this, so I can complete my book talk trilogy for this trilogy. Now, I don't actually feel like super ashamed that I haven't read these yet because, again, they are all recent releases. These finales are just especially weighing me down because they are finales. Like, I have so many open series right now that I'm like currently reading, and the fact that I could close off 4 series just by reading these 4 books, I feel like it's ridiculous that I haven't done it yet. But also, part of the reason why I haven't read these books yet is because they are finales, and I'm always very hesitant going into a finale, especially when it's a series that I already love, and I'm nervous to see how it all wraps up and if it will like live up to my expectations and close off the series nicely, but I need to get over that and I need to read these books. I need to read these books. It's ridiculous that I have not yet read these books. Alright, there you have it. Those are popular books that I have not yet read. I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments below. What are some of the popular books that you have not yet read? But yeah, that is gonna do it for this video today. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great night, and I will have another video up soon. So I will see you then. Goodbye!